room you're in right now is a proving ground. Your career, your relationships, your own restless mind, each is a field of contest where sympathy is currency only when paired with strength. If you hesitate, waiting for tenderness to rescue you, the world will walk past without blinking. Mercy is a luxury bestowed upon the powerful, not a lifeline extended to the meek. Listen closely. Brutality isn't always fists and blades. Sometimes it's the serene refusal to compromise, the calm discipline of withholding what others expect from you. Cold-blooded is a label, the comfortable slap onto those unwilling to be manipulated by affection. Machiavelli dissected that discomfort 5 centuries ago, and the scalpel is still razor-sharp today. Why must you cultivate that chill even toward the people you cherish? Because love, untempered by principled detachment, can become a leash. Think of the parent who shields a child from every hardship, only to raise an adult unprepared for the inevitable storms, or the manager who coddles underperformers until the whole team stagnates. Compassion without boundaries mutates into cruelty dressed in velvet. Machiavelli knew that, and so did Marcus Aurelius when he warned, "Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall meet with meddling, ingratitude, arrogance." He wasn't being cynical, he was immunizing his soul. Here's the reality. Society doesn't reward frailty. It rewards conviction backed by results. Your loved ones need your strength more than your indulgence. They need the version of you that can stare down chaos, make the harsh call, and accept the fallout. Yes, that means risking temporary discomfort, even resentment. But comfort is a drug, sweet, numbing, and ultimately lethal to growth. You're here because you sense that drug in your veins, and you're ready to detox. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break open the philosophy that forged iron leaders from Caesar to Churchill. We'll strip away the sentimental fluff society feeds you and replace it with principles that actually move the needle. Each principle will be framed as a step, not a gentle suggestion, but a commandment etched in stone. By the end, you'll have a playbook for targeted ruthlessness, when to deploy it, how to calibrate it, and how to live with yourself afterward. If you're already feeling that familiar defensive voice in your head, "But I don't want to hurt anyone," good. That's the soft part of you we're here to strengthen. Stay with me, because in a moment we'll dive into step 1. Seize tactical control of your emotions, the foundation of every sharp decision you'll ever make. Before we plunge forward, take decisive action right now. Hit the subscribe button. If these words strike a chord or strike a nerve, you're exactly who I'm talking to. The next section will dissect emotional discipline with surgical precision, and you won't want to miss a single incision. Step 1. Seize tactical control of your emotions. Look around you. Every billboard, every scrolling feed, every desperate headline is designed to hijack your feelings. Rage sells, outrage clicks, sweet nostalgia pries open your wallet. If you can be puppeteered by an algorithm, what chance do you have against a flesh and blood adversary intent on bending you? Machiavelli didn't merely warn that rulers must command perception. He showed how emotional volatility is a tyrant that dethrones you from your own mind. Picture a general on the eve of battle. Arrows whistle overhead, torches roar against the wind, and yet his pulse barely shifts. That's not numbness. It's calculated composure. The Stoics called it apatheia, disciplined stillness from which decisive action erupts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the nearer he is to strength." But here's the catch. Calm is not passive. It is an active redirection of heat away from chaos and toward strategy. So how do you forge that furnace into steel? 3 tactical drills. Interrogate the first fire. When anger or anxiety strikes, Freeze the frame like a film editor scrubbing through slow-motion footage. Ask, what exactly triggered this? And what does the trigger want from me? 9 times out of 10, the emotion is a sales pitch someone or something demanding your energy. Decline the transaction. Reframe through brutal clarity. Nietzsche declared, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Translate that. The moment you contextualize your irritation inside a larger mission, it shrinks. That snide email? Fuel for refining your professional dominance? That relative's guilt trip? Proof your boundaries are finally holding. Assign every discomfort a role in your strategy, and suddenly you're the director, not the extra. Deploy the one-breath rule. In Spartan training, warriors were drilled to inhale once deep, diaphragmatic, before responding to provocation. One breath is a checkpoint between impulse and command. Practice it until it's reflex. The next time your partner pushes your buttons or your boss ambushes you with criticism, that single breath buys you sovereignty. Now, note what's not on this list. Surrendering to the sentimental plea. Cold-blooded doesn't mean heartless. It means heart-governed. You empathize by choice, not by compulsion. Machiavelli saw mercy as a strategic lever, pulled only when it reinforces power or stability. Modern translation: you offer kindness that uplifts standards, not slack that corrodes them. If a friend spirals into complacency, the warmest act might be a sharp boundary. I believe in you too much to enable this. That line cuts, but it also cauterizes. At this juncture, some of you feel the inner pushback. Isn't this manipulative? No. Manipulation hides motives. Mastery declares them. You're broadcasting. I will not be ruled by reflex. That transparency is more honest than the polite lie of constant accommodation. Test yourself tonight. When fatigue begs you to scroll until dawn, override it with purpose. Assign those minutes to a skill, a plan, a sharpened edge. Tomorrow, track the micro-victories, moments where you responded, not reacted. They accumulate like compound interest. Emotional capital converts to tactical authority, and authority converts to outcomes that silence critics more effectively than any argument. If this drill set hits you like a jolt of cold water, good, that means the anesthesia of passivity is wearing off. Do not slip back under. Slam that like button right now to lock in your commitment, because in step 2, establish relentless standards, the code that separates transient motivation from enduring discipline. Stick around. The next cut goes deeper than comfort. Step 2. Establish relentless standards. Your life is governed by the lowest bar you are willing to accept. Nothing more, nothing less. If that bar wobbles, everything resting on it crashes. Machiavelli watched city-states rot because princes confused generosity with laxity. He warned, "A severe prince is better than a lenient one who permits disorders." Discipline isn't cruelty. It's the scaffold that prevents the palace from sagging into mud. Standards start where excuses end. That means no, I was tired. No, they'll understand. No, it's just this once. The first time you let a deadline slip or a workout slide, you've broadcast a silent memo to your subconscious and to everyone watching that your word is elastic. Elastic words never hold weight. In war, elastic weaponry snaps. In life, elastic character does the same. Here's the architecture of unbreakable standards. Define the non-negotiables. Marcus Aurelius wrote nightly in his meditations, reminders of who he chose to be honest, resolute, fair. Write your own charter. Not a vision board dripping with platitudes, but a bullet-hard inventory of lines you will not cross. Example: I train 6 days a week. I answer emails within 24 hours. I do not gossip. Concrete, measurable, binarize or no, anything fuzzy invites decay. Public stakes, private audit. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." Translation: expose yourself to accountability that scorches. Tell your team the launch date before you've written a single line of code. Announce your reading goal to friends who call you out when you drift. Then, every night, conduct a ruthless audit. No euphemisms, no gentle grading curve. Did you hit the rep count? Make the call? Close the deal? If the answer is no, record it in red. Shame hurts, but it brands the lesson into your psyche. Remove the friendly saboteurs. Machiavelli cautioned rulers against counselors who flattered instead of challenged. Look at your circle. Who hands you sugary validation the moment you contemplate quitting? Kind faces can conceal corrosive intent, often unintentional, but lethal nonetheless. Distance yourself or redefine the relationship. I value you, but I no longer entertain conversations that excuse mediocrity. Yes, it stings, but better a clean cut than an infection. But I don't want to become a machine, you protest. Understand this, you're not erasing humanity, you're elevating it. Relentless standards free you from the sludge of half-done efforts, leaving bandwidth for genuine warmth. When you meet a commitment with clockwork precision, those around you feel safe. Trust blossoms, not because you're soft, but because you're sturdy. Consider Voltaire's admonition. Each player must accept the cards life deals him, but once in his hand, he alone decides how to play the cards. Your standards are how you play them. High bars make strong hands, low bars fold. Today's tiny concession is tomorrow's bankruptcy of finances, of health, of credibility. Refuse it. Practical drill. Choose one arena: fitness, finances, or relationships. Set a 30-day, zero-tolerance protocol. Example: in fitness, miss no scheduled sessions. In money, track every expense. In relationships, return every call you promise within 12 hours. Track progress: publicly social feed, office whiteboard, family fridge. Watch how quickly onlookers recalibrate their expectations. How the clutter of trivial asks evaporates because people realize you're no longer available for nonsense. Expect pushback. Lighten up. You've changed. It's not that serious. Smile. Machiavelli reminds us that reforms produce enemies among those who profited from the old order. Your upgrade threatens their comfort. Standards aren't just fences. They're mirrors reflecting others' slack. Let them squirm. Your responsibility is not to soothe their discomfort, but to enforce the elevation. If this section sliced through your complacency like a surgeon's scalpel, anchor the wound with action. Smash the subscribe button right now. Lock yourself into this journey, because the next section is about the art of pulling back, so your presence hits harder when you choose to strike. Trust me, you'll want that edge. Stay tuned. Step 3. Weaponize strategic distance. Pause for a moment and study the chessboard of your life. Pieces jammed together lose their freedom to maneuver. They become fodder for the first sweeping rook. Machiavelli saw the same pattern in courts, overflowing with sycophants to much closeness, not enough clarity. He wrote, "A prince is respected when he keeps his distance and lets himself be seen in chosen moments." Distance isn't abandonment. It is pressure. It amplifies every move you make, the way silence sharpens a single drumbeat. Why must you apply that pressure even with loved ones? Because constant accessibility dilutes authority and breeds entitlement. When every demand gets instant gratification, gratitude evaporates and expectation metastasizes. Cold-blooded leadership, calm, deliberate, unflinching, requires deliberate spacing. Think of Marcus Aurelius on campaign. months away from Rome, issuing terse, decisive letters that carried more weight than a Senate's week-long debate. Or Nietzsche retreating to the Alps, returning with ideas that reshaped modern thought. They understood the paradox: step back so your influence can step forward. Now, woven into this narrative comes step 3. Weaponize strategic distance. 3 instruments compose this arsenal. The clock. Time is the first blade. Delay your response when emotions run hot. Give hours, sometimes days, before delivering a verdict. The silence forces others to wrestle with their own reasoning instead of leaning on yours. They approach you sharpened, respectful, and concise. You haven't ghosted them, you've trained them. The threshold. Machiavelli counseled princes to grant audiences sparingly so the honor never faded. Translate that to modern life. Establish explicit appointment windows, office hours at work, tech-free evenings at home. Loved ones initially protest. Eventually they adapt and rise to meet the boundary. The scarcity you create elevates the currency of your attention. The disappearance. Once a quarter. Vanish. No social media, no dinner parties, no noise. Retreat to build assets, skill, strategy, strength. When you re-emerge, you bring tangible upgrades, new expertise, a leaner physique, a refined plan. Absence coupled with evident evolution turns doubters into disciples faster than any lecture. Some will scream, "This is cold." Correct. Water must be cold to cut through steel without warping it. Warmth has its hour celebrations, confidences, earned privileges, but warmth that's on tap 24/7 becomes tepid sludge. Voltaire warned, "Familiarity breeds contempt, and children are not famous for gratitude." Adults aren't either. Strategic distance protects the dignity of both parties. Your leadership remains potent, their respect remains intact. Implementing this step demands tactical finesse. Tell your partner, "I'm dedicating Saturday mornings to deep work. Let's protect that space so I can show up fully the rest of the weekend." Tell your team, "Questions land by 4 p.m. After that, I'm unavailable until tomorrow." Watch as meetings shrink, emails tighten, and problems get solved before they hit your desk. You haven't become selfish, you've become a force multiplier. Expect isolation's sting at first. Lean into it. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Translation: the crowd mocks what it cannot fathom. Your temporary solitude is the chrysalis before flight. Hold fast, and soon the same voices will ask how you ascended. Drill. For the next 14 days, apply a 12-hour response delay to every non-urgent request. Track the fallout. You'll notice 2 revelations. Half the issues die on their own, and the other half arrive with solutions already sketched. That is leverage born from vacuum. If this section struck you like a thunderclap in a silent cathedral, channel that electricity now. Slam the subscribe button. Amplify our signal so these principles keep slicing through the noise. And brace yourself. The next video will dive into stoic aggression, turning calm into conquest. Miss it, and you forfeit the momentum you fought to build. Remember, emotions mastered, standards fortified, distance weaponized. Cold-blooded, no clearly blooded. Your pulse beats for purpose, not approval. Stand up, step back, and let the world feel the vacuum of your disciplined presence. When you choose to step forward again, make sure every stride echoes. Now, move. Your throne awaits.